All right, I think we're live. Hello and welcome everybody to our weekly product webinar, this time on our video editor powered by CE.SDK. My name is Jan. I head up growth here at Imagely, and I occasionally also do these product tour de forces. I'm joined by our Englishman in Berlin, Harry. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi everyone, I'm Harry. I head up our sales team and just joining in a assistant capacity for today.
Perfect. Yeah, maybe a little preamble. Since we're a slightly smaller group than usual, feel free at any point to send us a message in the chat with any questions, or if there's a topic that you want to linger on or delve deeper into. Quite flexible today and can take into account these kinds of requests, so don't be shy. All right, let's jump in. So a little bit more housekeeping. I'll try to keep the duration to about 30 minutes so that we have enough time for questions. As I mentioned, you can use the chat. Also, questions that we can't or won't deal with right away, Harry will relay to me when the demo portion of the webinar is over. And of course, a recording will be sent to everyone who's in attendance or registered. So after a few introductory remarks, introducing Imagely, it might be a bit repetitive for people who've joined previous webinars, but for the sake of everyone new, we'll go a little bit into that and then move on to a demo of the essential video editing features, have a look at automation capabilities with the video editor, and finally we'll demo our newest AI plugins in the video mode, and then we'll head over to the QA. So we are Imagely, all these handsome folks work here. We're completely distributed across the world. Usually the speakers here span at least 2 continents today. We're both in Germany, but yeah, we have people in almost every time zone. So Harry feels right at home, given that the sun never sets on our team. It was a Empire reference. All right, and so a little bit about Imagely history. So we started way back when, in the early 2010s, with video editing and image editing. So we noticed, so Imagely was spun out of an agency, and we noticed that there was a perennial need for just very robust out-of-the-box tooling for that, and there was a real need and gap in the market. And since then, our product has evolved as use cases have evolved, as browsers have gotten more complex and more capacities. So we're no longer now dealing with just simple media editing, but with our creative editor SDK, which launched in 2020 or 2021. I think the beta was in 2020. We have a fully fledged design editor and video editor that is more like an embeddable canvas, so really fully fledged, deeply customizable, and you can handle any use case imaginable if you're dealing with creative editing. And we have hundreds of customers in any industry really that has any kind of editing component, and we now power over 500 million editing operations per month. So that means there is a certain scale and robustness and reliability just baked in virtue of the kind of usage that we get. And I'd say, while this is one of our biggest value propositions is simply this, the reliability of our tech, we've also paid painstaking attention to being really flexible. So as we evolved past photo and video editing, where the case was usually quite simple and only so many things you can really do with a video or with an image, as we have grown and as our customer base has grown, we've encountered anything from print to short form videos. So we've designed our SDK in a way that makes it very easy to adapt to a use case and also to the look and feel of your application. I'm going to talk about the engine a little bit later, but what's also baked in is cross-platform compatibility, and that is like true native cross-platform compatibility, meaning that we have one central graphics processing engine that cross-compiles to, in principle, any platform. That means that designs that are maybe designed on some client like the browser and rendered somewhere else, or someone starts on mobile and finishes their designs on web, we ensure complete consistency because the operations are fundamentally powered by the same kind of technology. And that leads us into a little excursion into the engine architecture. And I like to include this slide because it gives you a mental model to think about the demos you'll see further on. So it helps one understand which parts of a technology make certain use cases possible, specifically automation. So as I mentioned, we have at the bottom the Imagely engine and in C++, which cross-compiles to platforms such as Android or web. On web, you target WebAssembly, and from there on expose a uniform API layer that then the clients build upon. So from the platform, you then have UIs layered on top. So we do have default UIs that ship with the editor that are already quite customizable through just the configuration that we offer out of the box. But this kind of setup also makes it possible to develop a completely custom UI with your own framework or UI elements. So you have maximum flexibility in this regard, and it also enables creative automation. So you could background the rendering of videos for things like saving work in progress or displaying previews. And you can also, of course, leverage this for design generation. So if you have a product catalog or a range of videos, especially now as the creative stack is interfacing more and more with AI, this becomes more relevant because video assets become cheaper. You can use the engine to batch, process, and render on the server even soon. So this is already possible on the clients, and we are about to ship the server component here as well. So this is just a piece of architecture to keep in the back of your mind when we're looking at the demos. All right, I think that's enough theory. Are there any questions so far, Harry, that we should go into?
Not just yet. I think we're good to go ahead with the demos.
All right. Then I'll share my screen now, and everything I'm going to demo here is also publicly available, and we'll include that in the follow-up email so that you can tinker with this in your own time. So this is our showcase page or our demo page. We have a dedicated section for video editing, and I thought I'd simply start off with kind of a blank canvas, blank video, and then we can go through the process of designing a video together. So this is our start with a video use case. I'm going to select this pomegranate here, and what what we've done is we select a video, we load it into the editor. You can see the timeline component down here. And one video track is always set as the background track. So it is still positioned on a canvas. You can, if you see, I can move it here and reveal the canvas behind it. But in most cases, you open a video and you want to have the video extend over the full width of the format you've selected. And already a few essential pieces of video editing, such as trimming the length of the clip, also splitting it, can be done on the timeline here. So now I just created 2 separate clips here. I can split again, have 3, and move these around, delete a section here, cut the video. This is all powered by the timeline component. I'll just quickly reload, so I can work with a fresh pomegranate. Also, I say pineapple. What's going on? All right. So I'm a creative agency. I want to create a little bit of an image. I want a small image movie film clip to run as an ad. My agency is called Pomegranate Creative. I'll just go ahead and filter this in a sunny 70s style. And I want, because now you can see the timeline is empty, but I can use any element that you might be familiar with from the design editor. I can use it and position it on the canvas here as well. So in the beginning, I just want to have the text pomegranate. This is 1 M or 2, Harry? I'm not a native speaker.
1.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I'll select a banger, super hip font. Let's make this 24. And you can see I position text here, and it shows up as an element on the timeline with a duration. And if I move the selection here, the canvas shows the point in the video which I'm on. So here I can still edit this, make it somewhat smaller, and I want to copy this now. So I've copied it, have a second element, and I want the text to display after. I want granite to come after pom, so I can move it up here on the timeline and have it in a single track. Previously, if you might be familiar with our old timeline, these were all stacked and was getting quite big if you have more complex videos. And now things that where there is this time dependency, you can simply position on the same timeline. Now, I would like, if we watch the video here, we'll just have our zoom in into the pomegranate and then pom twice. This should say granite. Move it a little down. And in the editor, we have the ability to define animations. And this is one of the, if not the most useful features to create videos from scratch. And I have to stress, I'm a complete design dilettante, as you might see. But I think the user experience is so great that we can make something decent with just the out of the box building blocks that we get. So I have my in animations, my loops, my out animations, and I want to pop in and then slide out. I'll do the same for the granite. I want it to pop in and slide out. Let's see what we have. There's the pomegranate. Make this a little shorter. And I have a background video here, but doesn't mean I can't just overlay a second video onto it. So I'm taking someone working in our agency, put that here, and this should come after the pomegranate, so I can put it on the same timeline again. I shift over here. I apply the same filter, so we have some visual consistency between the background and the foreground here. And when a granite comes out, this comes in. You can see this is a little rough, so I can have another animation. I just want this to fade in. When I define an animation, I can always go in and set stuff like the duration of it, and the behavior will have a just smooth decelerate from the beginning. And then finally, I'll take a shape and a feature that I really like, and I think is underused, is grouping. So I have here this big blob. I'll make this in a red. It kind of goes with the pomegranate red, and then I overlay some text on it because we are pomegranate creative. I'll pick the same font, make it slightly bigger, and then I can group these. I will shift, and I have different ways of combining elements, and I like the effect of just subtracting it, showing the video in the background now, and having this slowly. And now I can also animate the group as a group. So when I have this slowly fade in with a kind of max duration. And then, of course, an essential thing I have missing here is audio. So I go into the asset sources, and you can, with the asset sources, you can create custom asset sources here. You can load them at runtime. You can integrate with a third-party service such as Soundstripe. We have a partnership with Soundstripe, and they make background songs and effects available. And here, let's see whether this one is hipster enough. Why can't I move it? I can only extend it in one direction, of course. And now we should have something approaching a decent video. Let's have a look. So I hope you're duly impressed. Another feature, if you have a video with a person speaking, maybe I'll go back and show the dedicated demo, is create information about video editing. It's been very much requested are video captions, because of course, take the pre-captions video here. A lot of clips are viewed on platforms such as LinkedIn, and often they're muted. So really, captions are quite essential. If we open the Captions tab, you can see here that you can simply add your captions either in the editor, or you can import your caption files. I have them positioned on the timeline where I can set the duration according to the video, and I can also, of course, go in and style these. So let's have like a popular. If we go back here, you can see what that.
Make them sleek or fun? The choice is yours. Templates come with placeholders, letting you decide which element.
All right. That's for completeness sake. I think it's come out really nicely. I wanted to include it here. As I mentioned in the follow-up email, we'll have links to all these demos. I'd move on to automation now, unless, Harry, anything has come up in the meantime.
No, good to move on to automation.
All right. Anyone who's joined last week's webinar might be familiar with this demo of design automation. We focused mostly on the image aspect, but now we can select video as well. So just to give you some background, here we have the case of interfacing with a data source. That's the Apple Podcast API on the one hand, and so user input, so form-based input on the other. And then this data is automatically interpolated into a dynamic template, in this case, a video template. We've glossed over a little bit. We've glossed a little bit over the templating aspect. So when you create a video, you can also define elements as placeholders and text as variables. So that allows you to then identify those through the engine and dynamically swap them out if you get new assets and text from a data source. So here, make it a bit more illustrative. You can search for a podcast like Planet Money. It fetches the title, the logo, the background image, and you can see there's a background animation here. And it also leverages the template, leverages the engine to not only populate one template, but also generate assets in different formats. So you have a multiplication here as well as a variation step. Of course, the user can, and this is completely client side. So this is probably also what you would do in a production use case. If you imagine you were creating ads in bulk, you'd have a sample from your database for each design and each format, and then the user could go in and edit each concrete instance of it to make necessary adjustments. So here everything looks fine, but sometimes when you do something automatically, there might be a step of revision or correction in there. And if everything is fine, then you can send all the data to the server and generate that in batch. And similarly, if you want to be really restrictive about what a user can do with the video, and a whole video editing interface would be overkill for that purpose, as is often the case with these brand assets, where you just have a predefined set of colors and sizes that you can use. You can opt for kind of a form-based editing approach, where you can just in a form provide the inputs that you need from the adopter, so from the user. So here was maybe learn some econ, and as I type this, should get updated. Yeah, it's debalanced a little bit. Can maybe deselect Facebook, which I don't need, and pick a different color. We have to wait until everything is rendered, because these updates are batched. I can go back in. 1 second. Can go back in and pick a different background color, because this just looks lovely. All right, I'm speeding through it a little bit so we can also have a look at the AI video editor.
Just while you pull that up, Jan, apologies,
Yeah.
I did miss a question when we were having a look at the captions demo that you showed us before. The question was, are there plans to allow for auto transcribe from a video or audio if we don't already have the SRT file, or to type them manually?
Absolutely, yeah, that's next on the list. It's really quite a straightforward thing to do within the plugin system, and that is coming up shortly. Hope I don't get I will not get berated by the product team, but it's I think that'll be.
I'm also aware that it's on our immediate roadmap. So yeah, I don't know the exact timeline, but we should be there soon. I suppose that segues nicely to the AI stuff that you want to show us now.
Exactly, because with this demo, another piece that is important to kind of understand how functionality is extended within the SDKs to understand our plugin system. So we have developed a plugin system that allows you to add custom features of any kind to the editor. So you have to define a place where this behavior sits and what it acts upon. Here we have included an AI tab in the toolbar, and this is completely plugin based. So there's nothing that we shipped sort of with the UI and SDK proper, but there's a plugin we developed and integrated here. Likewise, you can have quick actions for elements on the canvas. So this menu can be customized, and you can have custom actions here. That's also what we did for this AI demo. And what this allowed us to do was to leverage all the generative AI models there are and pull them right into the editor, so that you can actually have AI-generated assets within your editing workflow and context, rather than switching context, fetching assets, creating them somewhere else, then looking how they fit into your design. Like, while you're creating a video, you can now open a tab here and generate an image, a sticker, a video, a sound, so during the editing process. The flexibility of our plugins also means that we're model agnostic, so you can use any AI provider you want. And here are a few that we pre-configured, and then you can select and deselect depending on which one best suits your use case. I will maybe just now play the demo video, because the actual generation can be quite time intensive, to give an idea what's possible with these extensions. So maybe to pause here, could have gone in, generated an image here. If there's some time, I can still do that, but doing generation, the video will not play. So I'll just show the panel. I can select a provider here for image generation, say whether I'd rather have a vector image, go in and choose from a variety of styles that we can see here and formats. So I think the beauty of these new models that have come out, I think, is especially for video, is that you can have character consistency, right? So you can now the next step will generate a video from an image, and it'll be the same cat.
I can say this in any voice you like. Meow, meow, meow.
So as you saw, if you look out on the timeline here we have the video of the talking cat that was AI generated, and then the audio tracks here were generated by simply going in and generating a voice. So I can put in a prompt, I am a cat, meow, meow, choose my model.
We're on video generation at the moment. Yeah.
Sorry?
We're on the video generation AI
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I miss I voice. That's why. Okay. Thanks, Harry. So I can generate my text here. Meow meow. Go in, select a character. I can also listen to the character before.
There is no greater harm than that of time wasted.
And then I generate the audio, and I can position it here on the timeline with respect to the video. So you can see this is incredibly powerful way of interfacing with AI, and it's also completely novel, especially as an SDK. Like, the way you can use this to draft up ideas and even do like full production ready assets is, I think, unparalleled and a much more natural way of working than having a pre-processed step where you take all the assets and try to combine them and then have to go back to make adjustments.
We've got a question if you've got time, Jan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Jerry has asked us, does the prompting, need to include verbiage asking to keep the same character, or is that natively built in? And is there a way to iterate the character and then lock in that look?
I think that's somewhat model dependent, but if you go from an image and you have like a multimodal model and you take the image and say something and animate this cat, make this cat walk and talk, then it'll keep the character consistency. And for the images, if you want to create different scenarios, and I'll go over to photo editor. Then in these, for instance, in the GPT image 1, this is baked in as part of the context. So if I choose that, I think for the others too, and I'll just say make her take a power pose, then it'll keep the character. You can also have much more complex prompts here. You can actually also take part of the canvas in the design editor, combining images and text and annotation to send that over to OpenAI, for instance, and it'll generate an image from the entire canvas. That's also possible. Yeah. But I think those are features of the model that you're interfacing with, and when you write the plugin, you can of course abstract a few things away from that, away from the user. So if you have to add to the prompt to keep the character consistent, or you have to provide additional context, you can do that inside of the provider.
Great, thanks, Jan. There's another question we have here as well. Is this concept of having multiple images with visual directions to generate a combined output only available in the design tab or within the video canvas too?
It's in the video canvas too. So I can at any point here say turn it into an image, but the output here will be an image. So you could use this beforehand for annotation as well. I don't know how useful that would be within the video editor. Yeah, it could be useful if you want to generate more complex images, maybe as a starting point for video generation. But I don't think I think this is a carryover from the design editor. It wasn't really designed, I think, with video in mind. You could have better UX, I think, for these kinds of use cases. As I said, you have the toolbar available. You have some real estate to work with here. You could add a separate canvas for these visual prompts.
Great. Another question while we're here. Is there a way to translate text through AI directly in the editor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me look at an example here. If I have the text here, can go in and just, so this is a quick action, exposes all the functionality of the provider, and I can go in and translate it into German. So I can, yeah. This is some cut off. So this is a translation. It's not a correct translation. Make the cat wave, speak, and smile. Let's try again. So it is possible, of course. So in principle, yeah, that's a correct translation. Lass die Katze winken und sprechen. So in principle, given capabilities of your model, we are simply kind of talking to that API in the background here and rendering the result. So if there is a model for it and it's like text, image, or video based, you can integrate it into the editor.
Awesome. Thanks. I think that's it for all the questions that are in the chat right now, at least.
All right. Then I guess, is there anything that I missed, Harry, that we might want to point out for people?
Oh, well, I think we've covered most things, but another question has come up. Would any of the AI models work with the editor? Are there any recommendations? That's a question as to whether there's any limitations or whether we have any preferred AI models that we prefer working with.
We do have a kind of preferred provider. We do have a partnership with Fall AI, and they just make it a lot easier. So they do offer us to have you host and fine-tune your models and give you much more ability to customize. But also for the most common models, they provide a very uniform and nice API that makes it easy to implement. So we do have a lot of examples interfacing with the Fall AI API. I can include a link as well in the follow-up email. And Imagely customers also get a discount there, but that is purely that's kind of model agnostic. So I think what's important and what one should keep an eye on is how especially video generation is progressing, and which model gives you most control over video quality and speed of generation as well. Because if you have to wait a minute, 2, 3 inside the editor before the video is done, of course you can continue with other stuff, but that's a little bit too long. So in those cases, it's usually a better way to pre-generate them and then import them into the editor. But I think we're not far away from much faster generation times. So especially for video, I would look at performance there primarily.
Great. We've got another question here. Can we create API connections to other APIs outside of FAL? And what about video to video?
Yeah, sure. You can absolutely do that if there is an API that you have access to with a modality that supports anything inside the editor as input. So, for instance, video, you can definitely do that too. I think we have a video to video example. Do we? Don't let me lie. Check out the video here. We have an example. Don't think right now, but it's not really different from any other block on the canvas that you send to the API and receive back, or to any other functionality of these panels. So while there isn't maybe a plugin that you can just take off the shelf, it's not very hard to implement that yourself from the examples we have.
Awesome. Maybe just then, while we wait and see whether any other questions are coming in, you mentioned earlier about how Imagely is really cross-platform. Maybe you could just say a couple of words about the video editing capabilities that are available on mobile.
Yeah, you might even know more about that than I do. But yeah, we do have video editing. We might have a separate webinar just for mobile here, but we do have the video editor available on Android and iOS as well. You can also, if I share my screen again, go in on the showcase page. And if you are in the video editor UI, click on iOS, there is a link to the App Store.
Let me just pin that back so everyone can see it. Yeah, so we're on the showcase page for the video.
Yeah, as you can see, we've adopted, as I've taken all the experience from the previous video editor SDK when it comes to the UI design with the so advanced timeline that we have developed with CE.SDK for mobile as well. So you can check out the demo app in the App Store and play around with the video editor there. We have an iOS and Android tab. They're of course quite similar, and we're also looking to expand the AI plugins to mobile as well. Don't have an exact timeline on that, but I know that we're working on it.
Awesome. Yeah. Any last questions that people want to add? Please feel free to do so now in the last couple of minutes. I think we've still got time to answer a couple of questions.
Yeah. So we'll also do a rerun of our earlier webinar on AI-driven workflows, since so much has happened since then. We'll recruit our CEO Eri for that, and just have a look occasionally at the newsletter. We'll announce that well in advance, and that might also allows us to go a little bit deeper on these AI questions as well.
All right.
Right. Yeah. We'll send you all a follow-up email on Monday at the latest. That'll include all the links to the demos that we showed you today. Thank you so much for your attendance. I hope this was valuable. And if you have any other questions, then I guess Harry is your man.
Yeah.
So we'll include his email in the his contact details in the email as well. If I may, Harry.
Yeah, absolutely. Please feel free, and happy to address any questions that anyone has, or if they need any other support surrounding the SDK, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to help.
All right, splendid. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.